Hey there, true crime friends. You know what time it is? It is time for lunchtime true crime. Child, grab a fork, grab your earbuds. You know, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. But also, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We need to talk about the Redlick family. Do you know the Redlick family? Have you heard this story? So here's the thing. Michael Redlick was some sort of executive with the sports ball. You know, I don't know nothing about that sports ball. Like, I know football. I know a couple of other sports, but like intimately, no, I know they exist. But anyway, Michael Redlick was some sports ball executive and he had a lot of money, and he came to his friends and he was like, look, I am in love with this lady, Kathleen. And they were like, really? How long have you known her? He's like, just a few months, but I'm madly in love with her. And I think I'm going to marry her. And his friends were like, maybe you should wait. And he was like, yeah, so here's why I can't wait. She has cancer. And they were like, okay. And they were like, and she's very sick and she's not getting good health care. And so if I marry her, then our insurance here at work can give her excellent health care and maybe she'll get better. And they were like, you maybe shouldn't marry a lady for the health care. And he was like, right. I hear what you're saying, but I love her. And the friends are like, okay. So he marries the lady and he gives her all the good health care, and he's taking care of her and taking care of her kids, Danielle and Danielle's little brother. And then Kathleen sadly dies. So he was like, oh, I loved her and I thought I could save her with my health care. Okay, Captain Save a Ho. No, that's not how that worked out. So he was just like, okay, but now, I have her kids here to raise. And the friends were like, dude, we told you it was too soon. He's like, that's okay. Danielle is like 18, 19 years old. And so she's going to help me with her little brother. So it's going to be fun. Look, Danielle's like, my mom is dead. I don't know this new stepdaddy. They was only married for like 3 or 4 months. I'm going to go on and live my life. But she's like, okay, but I do have this little brother. I want to help take care of my little brother. So she was like coming over to help with the brother. And Mike was like sad because his wife was gone, but he was like, I'm so sad. She said, let me get out here on these dating apps. Let's see, let me swipe or whatever they do for dating apps. I'm not about that dating app life. So anyway, Michael is taking care of the little brother and the sister Danielle's coming by. And then increasingly, the sister is like, look, we don't have a mom. I'm going to be the mom to my little brother. So she's at the house all the time. And Mike, the stepdad, was like, oh, you looking, what is that, shorts you wearing? You looking awful cute. Now listen, Michael is clearly old enough to be her father. He's like 25 years her senior. He was like, hey, Danielle girl, why don't you just move in the house and help take care of your brother? And she was like, okay, yeah, that'll be good. Cause you know, the rent will be cheap as in free. And, I could help take care of my little brother. He's a teenager now. He'll be out of the house before you know it. And then I could get on with the rest of my life. And Mike was like, yeah, you can get on with the rest of your life. So Danielle moves in and she's cooking all the dinners and she's taking care of her brother and she's doing everything. And, she started having a relationship with her stepdaddy. Look, all the friends was like, Mike, dude, first you married this lady who was sick because you wanted to give her good health insurance. Now you hanging out with her young daughter all the time, who's literally half your age. He's like, nah. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We just friends. She's here at my side. I'm here at her side. We raising a little brother together. Well, eventually he was at her side. He worked his way around to her front and they ended up getting married. Ew. So to clarify, Michael Redlick married his stepdaughter. Okay, they were not blood relatives, praise God, but ew. So this couple gets married and starts having children. So your sister is now your mama and your niece is your half sibling. What in the West Virginia is going on? So, okay, not my business. So they have their first daughter, Jaden, and they raising Jaden and things are going good. And Danielle, she likes to drink a lot, all the time. She might be a little bit of an alcoholic. It is not my place to call anybody alcoholic, but she did enjoy herself a libation all the time. So everybody was like, oh yeah, but she wasn't one of these like, I'm gonna go to the bar and fall down drunk, like brown liquor drunks. She was a wine drunk, which in some ways might be worse. She's like, I can hold my pinkies out and I can drink out of stemware and I can plow through 10 bottles of wine at night here at the house. But everybody was just like, okay. And their relationship was rocky, but your relationship might be rocky too if you married your stepdaddy. So Danielle goes on to have a second baby, Sawyer. Okay, so now they have a daughter and a son, and they're raising their kids, and the uncle brother is, still in the picture. It's a messy family situation. But okay. And Danielle remains crazy. Also, Michael, not that stable. This couple was very volatile. They broke up. They got back together. They broke up. They got back together. They had fights, blah, 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 back and forth. Jada was like, look, both of my parents are nuts, and I'm spending as much time as humanly possible over at friends' houses and other places because I don't want to be in this house with all this foolishness. But keep in mind, Michael is a sports ball executive, so they have a big, fancy house down there in Winter Park, Florida. It's basically like a mansion. They're driving fancy cars. Danielle's getting all the latest spa treatments and whatever. Good for you, girl. But ultimately, she's coming home to madness every night. And her and Michael are back and forth. There are domestic abuse calls to the house. The police come. There's fights in the front yard. They are in all of their trashy madness, screaming at each other in the front yard. At least have your arguments inside the house so the neighbors can't see. So one night, Mike comes home from work. Danielle is wine drunk because of course she is. And she's mad about whatever. And so she starts egging Michael's car. Okay. Y'all are 15 years into this marriage. You've done nothing but fight. Danielle has never had a real job because she was living with her mama, then she was living with her stepdaddy, then he became her husband. And so she's like, I'm helpless. I don't know if I can work, blah, blah, blah. This entire situation is messy and y'all raising y'all kids in some dysfunction, but okay. So the older daughter, Jaden, is like, I'm going to be at my friend's house because all y'all do is fight and I have really had enough of it. And Sawyer was like, okay, I have a baseball game. Can I go to a baseball game? And he goes to the baseball game and the parents go. And then he says, Mom and Dad, can I spend the night at a friend's house? And the parents were like, yeah, you can spend the night at the friend's house because, Mama's going to get wine drunk and Daddy's going to sit here and berate her for being wine drunk. Okay, great. Because that's how a typical evening went in their house, apparently. Cut to the next morning, and you hear this 911 call. Bring 911. And Danielle, my husband is dead here. I think he had a heart attack last night. Oh my goodness. And the 911 lady was like, oh wow, would you like to perform some CPR? I can walk you through it. You think he might have had a heart attack? And she was like, he's dead here on the floor. And they were like, oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna walk you through CPR. And she's like, I don't think CPR is gonna work. And they were like, okay, ma'am, why do you say that? And she's like, cause he's cold and stiff. And they were like, wait. What happened to him? What makes you think he had a heart attack? And she's like, well, he's dead. And so I think it's a heart attack, but also he might have unalived himself. I think he stabbed himself. And 911 was like, wait. Did he unalive himself? Did he stab himself? Did he have a heart attack? Ma'am, can you explain what happened? And she's like, can you just send somebody? This is a bad situation. And they were like, okay, when did he first fall ill? And she was like, last night. And they were like, well, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to back up. Can you just go over with us? So he's dead and stiff on the floor. He might have stabbed himself while having a heart attack? And she was like, I think that's what happened. I was nervous when it happened last night because I'm on probation and I thought maybe I could are you sending the cops? And the 911 lady was like, I'm very confused. So the cops show up and everybody, the ambulance, all the first responders show up and they're like, it's a lot of blood. It's blood everywhere. And why are there broken eggs in the driveway? Was y'all trying to make omelets? What did it go wrong? What happened? And Danielle was like, I don't understand. They were like, okay, so we're going to put these handcuffs on you and put you in the back of the police car. And she's like, oh, I think this is unwarranted. And they were like, yeah, it's warranted. And we're just doing it for your safety and our safety in case you happen to be a murderer. Because clearly you're grieving, but we don't know. There's a lot of blood. Just sit there. Just have a little seat. We're going to be back with you. So the first responders go in and they're like, oh, she's dead, Jim. And so he's laid out there, deadlock a carp on the floor, child. Blood everywhere. And there's like a strong smell of bleach and bloody towels. And the cops are like, okay, We are not stupid. This man has been dead for many, many hours. Miss Danielle, can you just run it back? Just tell us everything that happened. Tell us everything you know, because we're going to need to get some information from you, girl. And she's like, last night. They're like, okay, what time last night? She was like, oh, around 10. They're like, so 11 hours ago? And she was like, he stabbed himself while having a heart attack, and the stabbing caused blood, and I was slipping in it, and so I cleaned it up. That's why there's a bucket of water and you see smeared blood and bloody towels. I need to go plan a funeral. And they were like, oh, okay, this is a crime scene. We're going to have to take pictures and cordon everything off. And clearly, you might be crazy, so we're going to have to do some more investigating. So they do their investigation. And then she was like, oh, she got all stabbed up to her hands and stuff was all scraped up and whatever. She was like, it was a domestic situation. I was scared. I don't know what happened. And they were like, okay, where are your children? We're going to go get you. She's like, who's going to tell the kids? What's going to happen with the kids? I'm very nervous. And the cops are like, we are very confused, Heifer. We do not know what's going on. Clearly, you are a little bit nuts, and we're just trying to untangle this situation. So, they talked to the neighbors, and I was like, ooh, what do the neighbors know? The neighbors were like, yeah, they were a volatile couple. They used to fight all the time in the front yard. Trash. You do not fight in the front yard. At least fight in the backyard. Go in the house. Like, oh, so rude. Anyway, so the neighbors were like, they was fighting in the front yard, but it was never like a physical altercation. Just a lot of bickering and her going, get out. You can leave my house. And she wine drunk 24/7. So the cops are like, okay. Danielle gets herself a lawyer. And the lawyer is like, okay, girl, tell me what happened. And she's like, okay. We were having an argument. And it's like, right, because of course you were. And he was choking me. You see, he has a domestic violence charge. And he threw me up against the kitchen island on these big, beautiful Carrara marble countertops. Isn't our kitchen beautiful? We have a lovely home, marble floors. It's Florida. Everything is gorgeous. Look at our lovely palm trees. And so the lawyer is like, tell me more. So she's like, we're fighting and he's strangling me like he always does, because that's his thing. And I was like, get off of me. I think I'm dying. And so I'm reaching behind me and I reach into a drawer and I stabbed him in the shoulder. And they were like, okay, so where'd the heart attack come in? And she was like, he started bleeding and he got off me and he stumbled around. And I said, oh, you're making a mess on my floor. It's blood everywhere. And then he fell over and just was like, laid there dead like a carp on the floor. And so I was nervous, and so I locked myself in the bathroom for like 9-10 hours. Also, I was drunk. And the lawyer was like, say more. And so she was like, and so when I finally sobered up enough and came out of the bathroom, I thought, oh, these floors are a mess and this looks terrible. I should clean this up. So I made a bucket of water. Like, girl, you saw him. You didn't call. Okay. She's like, I made a bucket of water. I might have still been a little tipsy. And so I started cleaning. But no matter how much I cleaned, there was just so much blood. And so I just piled all the towels together in the corner for when the housekeeper comes. So, because I didn't want it to be too messy for her. You're supposed to tidy up before the housekeeper comes. And the lawyer was like, focus, Heifer, focus. And so she was like, so then I went and I checked on him and he was very, very dead. And honestly, like, I was hoping he was dead so he could stop beating me. But I was hoping that he was dead from a heart attack, not from the stabbation that I did. Can I go home? And the lawyer was like, girl, trial. We gotta go to trial. So the state collects all their evidence and they're like, okay, the state of Florida versus Danielle Redlick. Now look, when we first see Danielle Redlick, she has dark hair, she's thin, she looks a little worn out, but like, okay, but especially considering she's from Florida, she was clearly using a good sunblock. By the time she gets to court, all her natural hair has grown out, all white. Long white hair. She's looking ragged. Her eyes are only open and slit. She looks like this. And I'm like, okay, girl. Okay, that alcohol is hard on your body. She's like, I haven't seen my children for a very long time. Ma'am, focus. You're on trial for murder. P.S. The state comes back and is like, okay, we're going to offer you misdemeanor, second degree, oopsie, accidental killing. I don't know the technical term, but it was something like that. And you can do 24 months. And she was like, that's a good deal. I've already sat in jail for a year, which means I would only have to do another year, but I'm going to roll the dice. And the state was like, okay. But when the state made that 2-year offer, I was like, state, do y'all not have, why y'all offered her only 2 years on a homicide trial? But okay. So she goes to trial and she gets up there and she tells her, her lawyer lays out the plan. And honestly, I watched this trial when it happened and I was like, sounds like both of them were a basket case, right? He married his stepdaughter. She was an alcoholic who married her mama's husband. And she tried to raise her brother. She's not on good terms with her kids. The whole situation is a mess. And so she's like, yeah, it was self-defense. And you see, there was some domestic violence charges and whatever else. So clearly, I was defending my very own self. And she took the stand. If you have not seen it, hop on over to Court TV and watch the state of Florida versus Danielle Redlick, where she takes the stand and she tells her whole story. And I was riveted because this case happened during the pandemic. So I was sitting here at my office, by my office, I mean my house, doing my work. But I was like, and then what happened? And then what happened? I watched this case breathlessly. So the jury goes out and we on verdict watch. And I was like, ooh, how many days is this going to take? And then 4 hours later, the jury comes back. And I was like, okay, only 4 hours. She going to get convicted. The real question for me is how much time is she going to get? And the jury comes back and they're like, we in the great state of Florida, land of oranges and meth enthusiasts, find Danielle Redlick not guilty. What? She is acquitted. And she's like, thank you. Thank you so much. I can just get on with my life and get custody of my children and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, her children step forward and write letters to the judge. That daughter, Jaden, who is now 21, had words for her mama. She was like, look, Your Honor, you might have been fooled by her. I lived in the house with the heifer for 21 years. Please, I would like an order of protection for myself and for my younger brother, because she's a low down dirty dog. She's manipulative. She killed my father. She was a terrible human being. Oh, Jaden, tell us what you really think, girl. But ultimately, at the end of the day, call me crazy, I think both of these people were probably terrible, right? Like, Jaden is still not speaking to her mama all these years later, couple years later. Sawyer, the young son, he's a teenager now. I don't know what relationship he has with his mother, but honestly, my experience has been the daughters can be very hard on mothers, and sons, for the most part, to a large extent, love their mamas. But I don't know what their relationship is like, because not every son loves his mama. Some mamas are trash, and some sons are like, yeah, mama, you trash. So who knows? But Danielle is out of prison. And I believe she gets Michael's pension and all that other stuff. So she just sitting back here chilling. Oh, she gets a chance to start her life over. I mean, and honestly, it was rough going from start. She was born into a poor family, to a poor mother. Then she got rescued by a dude who was her stepfather, turned husband, turned baby daddy, turned victim. And now she got some kids that don't speak to her. Look, the only thing we can hope for this family is that they do not continue to perpetuate the generational trauma. Sawyer, Jaden, y'all gonna need some therapy. I hope you're in intensive therapy right now. In fact, you shouldn't even be watching this video. You should be over talking to your therapist and possibly actual Jesus and somebody else. Listen, this is a prayerful channel. We are prayer warriors over here. We pray to the Golden Girls. We pray to Betty White. We pray to Beyonce in Blue Ivy's name, because Jesus is busy. There is war in the world. There's starvation. There's all kinds of terror. There are people on cancer wards. And Jesus is busy with that. So we're not going to trouble him with our little true crime cases. But these people, they need actual Jesus. I'm going to need y'all to get Jesus on the main line and tell him what you want. And I hope what it is some mental health and healing. Okay. That is today's episode of Lunchtime True Crime. Now get on out, go on with the rest of your day. You know you have things to do. Don't be sitting here looking at this ridiculous woman dressed in a TARDIS dress talking to you about true crime. Go, get some work done. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care until then. Bye.